Shalawam, and welcome back to The Hidden Chosen. I am Hadassabat Saiwan, and I'm returning with this marvelous study called Angels. And now we have moved on to part 7 called The Principalities. So let's get started. The next group of angels that we will be looking at are called the Principalities, also known as chief archangels, the princes, or the chief princes. Prince is shortened for principality. We will use to differentiate between principality as in a prince or principality as in the spiritual realm. And there's also principality, the earthly realm, the kingdom that these principalities rule over. So from here on, I am going to refer to these chief archangels or the principalities as princes, okay? The princes are over the archangels, the Gregory, who are the watchers or guardian angels, and the angels of the choirs. The princes also govern over spiritual realms and the heavens, and they keep watch over the evil princes who help to govern the evil empires on the earth. So, like we said from the very beginning, when Gadriel fell and took a third of the angels, he took he took a little bit of everybody, with the exception possibly of the cherubim and the seraphim. There's no evidence that seraphim and cherubim accompanied him. All right? We know he was called the anointed seraph. I wanted to call him cherub, but he's a seraph. Okay? And because he was the number one angel, that makes him the general over all these fallen angels and their Nephilim spirits. Okay? There are 7 chief princes, and these are the holy princes in total. And they stand before Yahweh in his throne room, although they leave to take their post to keep watch. Remember, they're watching over the realms and the heavens, and we're going to see a lot more about them as we go on. Yochanan referred to them as the 7 thunders, and we see this in the book of Revelation. And we see evidence of their roles in ushering in certain end times events. So they're going to play a role in the end times events. Let's go to 1 Chanawak chapter 61 verse 10. That's 1 Enoch chapter 61 verse 10. And he will summon all the host of heavens and all the holy ones above and the host of Alahayam, the cherubim, seraphim, and Ophanim, and all the angels of power. We just looked at those. Those are the angels called the powers, and all the angels of principalities, which will be these chief archangels. We call them princes, okay? And the elect one and the other powers on the earth and over the sea. So I brought this particular verse here for you to see how Chanawak labeled or titled these particular angels with these similar titles that I'm showing you, okay? And we also know that, even in the scriptures, they're referred to as powers and principalities. Let's go to Revelation chapter 10, verse 3. And cried with a loud voice, this is an angel, and when a lion roars, and when he had cried, 7 thunders utter their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. So whatever it was that they had said triggered an end time event, and we found out that time stopped. But the actual words were not recorded. Alahayam Yahweh did not want Yawakanah to record the actual words that the seven thunders, who are the seven princes, uttered in his vision. And they will utter these words when the time comes. All right? When time comes to an end, they will be the ones to utter the words which will cause time itself to stop. The evil princes assist the Satans, who are the evil powers and masterminds behind the world dominating empires. Now, I've done many studies about these empires that Danayal saw. You know, we start with the Babylonian Empire, then the Medes and Persian, and then the Greek, and then the Roman, and then we go on up to our time, who is ruling. I did that in many studies, okay? Those earthly empires are possessed with evil powers, with the exception of one, and that's Gadriel, who was a seraph, but now he is a Satan. They govern, speaking of the evil princes, they govern the evil spiritual realms where the fallen angels and Nephilim spirits reside and operate. So this is one thing that we have to understand, that all these evil spirits, these fallen angels, they work hand in hand to bring about their evil deeds. They are not omnipresent like Alahayam, and they don't have the numbers like Alahayam has with his angels. Remember, only a third fell, and even though they have the Nephilim spirits are not as powerful as the fallen angels. Okay? So they're limited. And so they utilize earthly vessels to join into their armies to war against Alahayam. Okay? They're all working together. And depending on the empire in existence, there will also be a principality, speaking of the evil realm attached to it, in which they will all work together to carry out their evil purposes in raising up this empire. Now, as we go on, you're going to understand more about these spiritual realms that these evil spirits operate in. You know, you've heard of strongholds. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? There's a stronghold through which we, the righteous, run to, who is our fortress, who is Alahayam Yahweh. And then there's a stronghold that the enemy of our souls come and they establish. And it is within this particular realm, this evil realm, that they trouble us. All right? We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on. Danayal, the book of Daniel, chapter 10, verse 12. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Danayal, for from the first day that you did set your heart to understand and to chasten yourself before Alahayam, your Alahayam personal, your words were heard, and I am come for your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia, now listen to these words, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, for 3 weeks. But lo, Mayakaal, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. This was Gabarayal, one of the princes that came to bring understanding to Danayah concerning certain prophecies. But when he came with the word, the prince, meaning the evil principality, the evil prince that governed the realm, the spiritual realm, and the earthly realm of Persia, came to fight against him, to prevent him from reaching Danayah. Why? Because because this prince, this evil prince of Persia, knew that his time was up. And he wanted to prevent Danayah from carrying out his role because he figured if I can stop him, then I can carry on being the evil prince or principality over Persia, and Persia will carry on as a kingdom on the earth. You see, at that time, the kingdom of Persia, Medes and Persian, were ruling as a great empire on the earth. Why? Because of this same evil prince that was governing the realm that allowed them to reign as a kingdom on the earth. And this prince of Persia knew that his time was up. Let's read on, and you'll see. Verse 20. Then he said, know you wherefore I come unto you? Do you know why I come unto you? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. But I will show you that which is noted in the scripture of truth. And there's none that holds with me in these things but by Mayal Kaal, your prince. And we're going to understand more about that statement later on. Okay? We're going to come back to this scripture. It's going to come up again in another slide. Okay? Although ranked after the powers, these holy princes, these 7 holy princes, are very powerful angels, as they are the warriors who fight against the Satans. They monitor the spiritual realms and they monitor the earthly kingdoms to ensure that the fallen angels stay within their respective areas. They can't roam everywhere they want to go. That's why Alahayam has his holy angels to govern everything that he created. There is only one earthly kingdom belonging to Alahayam, and it is guarded by the Prince Mayaka'al, and that is the kingdom of Yashra'al. These chief archangels are also responsible, and speaking of the 7 princes, they're also responsible for the overthrow of an empire when it is time for the next empire to be set up. They would go to war against the evil prince of that particular kingdom to defeat them, which in turn would have a rippling effect on the earthly evil empire. That earthly beast empire is overthrown, and another Satan steps in to raise up another evil empire, all according to the will and purpose of Alahayam. And we saw a lot of this in the book of Danayah. In fact, you don't even need to go to the book of Danayah. Just look at history of what has happened with all these world dominating kingdoms on the earth. And then you can go to Danayah and see that he prophesied about the falling of these kingdoms based on the visions that he received. So if you don't want to believe the Bible, go to history. Okay, go to the history of the world, history of the kingdoms that once dominated upon the earth. All right. And this warfare of overthrowing evil princes and their principalities, speaking of their realms, has been carrying on until present time, where we have now reached the beast empire number 7 that will soon rise up. We saw examples of these overthrows of empires in the prophecies of Danayal, where Gabarayal spoke about the prince of Persia, who governed that evil realm, also called the Principality of Persia, and the earthly empire, also called Persia. We're talking about the Medes and Persians now, okay? When that evil prince and principality of Persia were overthrown, then the evil prince and principality of Greece was next in line to take over the next earthly beast empire of the Grecians, the Greeks. So remember, it started out with the Babylonians, they were overthrown. This is what the holy princes do. They go and they fight against the, the evil prince that govern the spiritual realm called the principality, and which is connected to the earthly realm, which is the kingdom. When Alahayam is done with a kingdom ruling and reigning on the earth, he sends his archangel to fight against the evil prince over that particular principality. Okay? Then he allows, Alahayam allows the next one to rise up. You see, he has an ultimate plan. He's going to destroy them all eventually. But for right now, he uses them as judgments against the people on the earth. Because that's what the kingdom on the earth is all about. It is about the people on the earth. And in order for these principalities to rise up, these princes and principalities to rise up, these earthly empires to take their place, they got to go and fight wars against one another, bloodshed on the earth. That's conquering. And that's the physical part of the overthrow of a kingdom. Okay? Here are the names of the 7 princes according to Chanawak, with several changes to note due to certain discrepancies. We know there are discrepancies in the apocrypha and there are discrepancies in the Bible. We just need to know what they are and we work to suit. We learn to chew, we learn to spit, right? As the saying goes. We will also discuss their roles, meaning the roles of the 7 princes according to Chanawak's description outlined below. First Chanawak chapter 20, verse 1. This is First Enoch chapter 20, verse 1. These are the names of the holy angels who watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels who is over the world, turmoil, and terror. Now I'm going to give you the names according to Chanawak, and then in the next slide, you're going to see the names according to our language called Oberai, okay? Verse 3. Raphael, one of the holy angels who is over the spirits of men. Raguel, one of the holy angels who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. Mayakaal, one of the holy angels set over the virtues of mankind and over chaos. Sarakael, one of the holy angels who is set over the spirits who sin in a spirit. So this particular angel, Sarakael, is the only one that will be changed. And I'll explain why in a minute. Verse 7. Gabriel, one of the holy angels who's over paradise, and the seraphim and the cherubim. And that too is another discrepancy. Because from our studies previously, we know that the seraphim and the cherubim, they are on a higher ranking. They're different and they're ranked higher than Gabriel. And verse 8, Ramiel, one of the holy angels whom Alahayam set over those who rise. Now we're going to understand what Chanawak's description is telling us based on their names and understanding their names. Chanawak called one of the 7 princes Sarakael, when in fact this angel was only mentioned once in his writings and nowhere else. But Phanuel is written about a number of times by Chanawak. He's mentioned a number of times. And Phanuel was one of the archangels that went with Chanawak to show him the different levels of the heavens. Now, this is not to dismiss Sarakael as one of the angels, as he may be as such, but he's not one of the 7 chief archangels. Now, I know that I'm pronouncing them as archangels. I'm talking about the 7 princes. Some people may pronounce them as archangels, right? Either way is correct. Before we go on, let us transliterate their names into the Oberai language and learn their meaning. So we have Michael, who's Mayaka'al, which means who is like Alahayam. And he is the chief of the chief princes. Gabarayal, which means warrior of Alahayam. We know that's what he does. Raphael is Rapa'al, which means Alahayam has healed. Uriel is Awarayal, which means Alahayam is my light. Raguel, Ra'owa'al, which means friend of Alahayam. Ramiel, which is Yaraha Ma'al, which means Alahayam shall have mercy, and he's mentioned as Ramiel in Chanawak, and he's also mentioned in 2nd Baruch. That's another book in the apocrypha. And it was said that he presides over visions of truth. And now we have Phanuel, who's taken the place of Sarakael, and his Oberai name is Panawa'al, which means face of Alahayam, or before Alahayam, in front of Alahayam. And he, yes, of course, he replaces Sarakael. Now we will look at the roles given to these 7 princes according to Chanawak. Although we will contemplate about chief archangel, the chief prince, Gabara Ya'al, being over the seraphim and cherubim. The seraphim and the cherubim are ranked higher than him. So how now can he be over them? We know that Chanawak said that Gabara Ya'al is over paradise. And we know paradise is speaking of the Garden of Odan, where the sanctuary of Alahayam is. That's where he met with Adam and Hawa when they were living in the Garden of Odan. And yes, there are angels in the garden, but those are the choirs. Some of the choirs are there, about 300 of them. And Alahayam had placed, this is when the Garden of Odan was on the earth, he had placed a cherub with a sword, a flaming sword, in front of the entrance of the garden to prevent Adam and Hawa from going back in. He wanted to keep them out for their own good. All right? For their own good, because heaven forbid, if they had gone and eaten of the tree of life in their fallen state, there would be no help for none of us. In fact, we would not be here today. And this would be exactly what Gadriel would have encouraged them to do. Now you're fallen, eat of the tree of life and be like us, condemned forever. So Alahayam already had a plan put in place even before he created the man, that he was going to bring him back to the garden so that now he would be restored, redeemed, and restored to the place where he had fallen from, and then promoted. Okay. So we know that, yes, he used a cherub to do that. And we know that they're seraphim, they call them chalcredi and phoenixes, that govern the sun. So we know that they are seraphim and cherubim outside of the throne room. They operate outside of the throne room. But to think that Gabora Ya'al will be over them, it just does not make any sense. It doesn't make any sense based on their ranking that we have discussed. Even though they may not be in the throne room, okay, they're different anyway compared to who he is. Now, if there were cherubim and seraphim like warriors like him, then maybe. But they are not warriors in that in the sense of how he is a warrior. Yes, they will have swords and they're there to protect. But the real fighters are the archangels, inclusive of the princes, the seven princes, the Gregory, and the Gregory. So those are three sets of angels that are used by Alahayam to war. They're soldiers. Okay? And we see evidence of that in the Bible. And we're going to show you here that evidence. Okay? We have never seen seraphim fighting like the archangels. All right? So we're going to keep things simple by stating that we're not going to claim that Gabara Ya'al is over the seraphim and the cherubim, because he simply could not be. For what purpose? He's totally different from them. His rule is different from them. I mean, they all have different rules, but his rule suits those who are after him, who follow after him, with the exception of the choirs. Choirs are only there to sing continuously throughout the heavens. Okay, let's move on. These are some of the discrepancies which we have to be careful of, as they can and will lead us astray from the truth. We know for a fact that the seraphim and cherubim, although a different genus of angels as compared to the chief archangels and those angels after them, are still considered higher than the archangels. Therefore, we will dismiss this part of Gabara Ya'al's rule description by Chanawak. The seven chief princes are the highest of all the warring angels and the most powerful. They have the form of a man, just like the rest of the groups of angels after them, as in the other archangels, the Gregory, and the angelic choirs. The princes, the archangels, and the Gregory are the most active of all the angels as they move between the heavens and the earth to make contact with mankind or to act on our behalf. It is for this reason why these particular types of angels look like us. They have to interact with us, so they're going to look like us. And this is the reason why Alahayam made them this way. And this includes them not having wings like the seraphim and the cherubim. We spoke of evil spiritual realms, also known as principalities, evil principalities, where the evil princes and the other fallen angels and the Nephilim spirits reside in order to carry out their evil deeds. Therefore, the roles of each of these 7 holy princes of Alahayam help to counteract these evil princes. So let's look at our Ra Ya'al, who's Uriel, and he watches over the entire earth. And he wars against the principalities of turmoil and terror and the evil princes who rule through them, through these principalities. So let's understand something. If you want to call them strongholds, to have a clear idea of what I'm talking about, in order for an evil spirit to come into your realm and disrupt your life, there must be a stronghold in which they operate in and through. Let's go with lust. Lust is a major stronghold in many people, if not all people's lives, with the exception of the ones who give their lives over to Alahayam Yahweh, and they have conquered this stronghold and this evil spirit. Okay? And lust comes in many different formats. You have lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, lust for money, greed. Okay? And they all operate to corrupt a person. And if they possibly can, to sabotage their heavenly inheritance. And if they can, to the point of them being led straight into the lake of fire to be destroyed forever. So what we're looking at when we're looking at principalities here, the spiritual realms, we're dealing with an area that is used as a tool to disrupt and to corrupt a person's life. And we see turmoil here, and we see terror. And we know even here on the earth, we're very familiar with these 2 principalities. And who do you think brought them here? These same evil princes by their same names. They go by the same names. You have the stronghold called lust, and you also have the spirit of lust. Now, they don't work by themselves. They also use the foot soldiers called the Nephilim spirits to help them along in their evil deeds. Now, I'm explaining this to you so you can have an understanding of the network, the evil network that is in place. When a person has issues or strongholds in their lives, we use lust. Let's go back to that. You cannot come and just pray against the evil spirit of lust and then it's finished. No, you need to destroy His realm. You need to destroy his principality. You need to destroy his stronghold in you. And how do you do this? You have to destroy what it is that you are holding on to. Whatever you're looking at, whatever you're listening to. When you destroy the realm in which they operate in, they gotta go. But if you're just tackling them, they're gonna keep coming back. Yeah, right. And you don't want them to come back. And not only when you destroy their stronghold, you now need to reinforce this stronghold with the word of Alahayam, with truth, with light. That's what you need to do. Okay? And then you know for sure that these evil spirits will depart from you. But that's why a lot of people, they are constantly battling and going around in a vicious cycle with certain issues in their lives because there's a stronghold in place. And until that stronghold is destroyed, you're constantly battling and weakening yourself for no reason. Destroy the stronghold. If you have a problem, I'm going back to lust. We know this is a biggie. Let's go to the lust of the flesh. You like looking at women or women looking at men and going out with men and women and men going out with women. You need to stop that. Okay? You need to stop it. You're looking at things to entice your eyes that will encourage you to keep doing it. You need to stop that. Some people have problems looking at porn, and that's all part of it. You need to stop looking at it. You know what? If your computer, if you have access to a screen that is producing these images, you need to get rid of it. Get rid of the screen. Stop watching television, stop watching YouTube, whatever. I'm going to have to stop watching whatever you're looking at that is producing these images for you to look at. Get rid of it. And get the Bible and read it. Get a book, a paperback, and read it. If you want to be healed in this area. And this is how you will destroy the stronghold. And not only after you get rid of it, you don't think that's finished. You now need to repent. You now need to repent and ask the Most High to please come in to clean you out and reinforce you from the inside out. So that you would not have a desire, because again, they operate in your desires, your fleshly desires. And you need to get rid of that too. Some people, you might not be watching the images and might just doing the actual act. Going out there with a lot of women or women going out there with a lot of men. That's a big problem amongst our people. I know this for a fact. Okay? Because there are strongholds in our people's lives that dictate them to do these things, that provoke them to do these things. And you got to break the stronghold. You break the stronghold, you will cut off the access of that evil spirit into your life. And not only did you cut it off, but then you're going to seal it up with the word of Alahayam. And then you're going to continue on serving Alahayam because you got to keep reinforcing yourself. You think he's going to come? He's never going to come and try again. He's going to give you a couple of days, maybe even a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months. but he's going to keep trying because he knew these spirits, they know your weakness. So he's going to give you a couple hours and then come back. And if you notice, well, I can't get in, let's give her or him a couple of days. Couple of days come, they try, they can't get in. Okay, let's give a couple of months. Okay, let's give him and her or her a year. And when they realize that this is truly an area that has been reinforced with the word of Alahayam, they're going to, okay, well, let's go back to the drawing board and see where else in this person's life we can interfere. We can enter in and set up a stronghold, a principality, a realm. And from that realm, it's like being in a room with buttons. Let's see, I'm telling you, these devils, let's see what we can provoke them to do. Well, let's see what we can tempt them to do. You got to cut it off. All right, let's move on. Rapa'al is over the good spirits of men, guiding them to their temporary resting places. Either Abraham's bosom for our forefathers who have gone to sleep, under the altar for the martyrs of the southern kingdom, or before the throne for the martyrs of the northern kingdom, or the nicer part of Hades for the Gentiles whose names are also written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Notice that each category of people, when they pass on, have their own section that they go to. Now, I know for sure that this is real, that this is true. When my grandmother, she was very ill and she was dying. And when she was in the hospital, my mom would visit her. And when she was conscious, she would ask my mother, who are these people in white around me? My mother would look and there was nobody around her except her, my mother. There was nobody present but my mother. And she's like, what people? She said, there are people all around me. Who are these people? In white. They look like nurses. Because those were the angels guarding my grandmother because she was getting ready to go. And they wanted to usher her in to her resting place. So my mother was a little bit disturbed. Needless to say, my mother was very disturbed. She called me and asked me, what's this thing that my mother, meaning her mother, my grandmother, was seeing? And I told her it's a good thing. She's being guarded because it's soon time for her to go home. All right. So there is a prince who works with the other angels, the other archangels, the other warriors, who will help to usher the righteous spirits of men into their respective places. And there's warfare that goes on because the devils don't want the righteous spirits to get there. All right. Let's go on to Rawach, who is Raguel. He takes vengeance against the luminaries, which are the enlightened ones. And these are principalities. We're talking about the spiritual realms of lies and deception because we know that the so-called enlightened ones on the earth operate on their own lies and deception. Right? And we know that their light is darkness. They call themselves the enlightened ones. So, hey. But these are the tools of the evil princes. And Ra'owa'al, he wars to prevent and to destroy certain lies and deception from ever reaching mankind. So there's just some things that Alahayam, Yahweh will say, don't let that touch my people. Don't let it come near. And this is what Ra'owa'al will go and do. Okay? To prevent and to destroy. Mayakaal, we already met him. He is over the virtues of mankind, the goodness that should come to us, right? So he guards over our goodness, and our goodness comes from Yahweh, all right? It's not from us. And he is against the principality of chaos, which is an evil realm with its namesake, the evil prince of chaos, all right? So he guards against chaos. So if Alahayam did not have his princes guarding these principalities and these evil princes, this whole world would be out of control. It may seem out of control, but it's within his control, because everything that you see occurring on the earth, Alahayam, Yahweh, is allowing these evil, wicked spirits to do their deeds. But they have limitations, okay? Let's move on to Panawaal, who's Phanuel. He's over the evil spirits of men to guide them to their temporary residence, which is the hellish part of Hades, to await the creation of the lake of fire. And then we have Gabarayal, who's Gabriel, who's over paradise, which is in third heaven. And this is the Garden of Odan, where the sanctuary of Alahayam is. And then we have Yarach Hama'al, who is Ramiel, is set over those who rise, meaning the awakening of the soul through the visions of truth, because he's responsible for visions of truth. We saw what was said about him in Second Baruch, that he also presides over the visions of truth. So remember, when we were once in darkness and ignorance, that's because truth was shut off from us. All right, truth was shut off from us. When truth began to flow to us, it's because he came and warred against the evil spirits that were preventing truth from reaching us. All right? And due to the truth now that we have received, we are now awakened. We are now, I don't want to use the word enlightened, but for lack of better words, the truth now lights us up. And some people, they receive dreams and visions of things that they could not really understand until they go to the Bible, and then the revelation comes, and then, wow, I didn't understand this to be so, but now because of this dream and this or this vision, I now have a clear understanding, and it has helped me to make wise decisions for my life, my spiritual walk. I remember there was a friend of mine who had a dream, and his dream was so vivid that he thought it was real. It was, and he called me and said, I was the one who told him, based on a visit that I made. I did go to Israel, that was real. But he said I had a conversation with one of the Jewish people there who confirmed that, yes, you people, the Negroes, are the true Israelites. That's what they would call us, right? But we're Yashraal. And he kept saying that. And I had to say to him, but we never had that conversation. We never had that conversation. And so, because I was awakened before him, right? His awakening came shortly after. And when I finally tell him, look, it wasn't me. I think you probably had a dream, and the dream was so real that you are sure that you spoke to me concerning this matter. And he said, you know what? I think you're right. Because I told him we never had that conversation. I never had a conversation with a Jewish man in Israel about us being the true people. And he and I never had this conversation on the telephone about the conversation I had with this Jewish man. But you see, this is When Alahayam Yahweh releases his princes to do his particular um, purpose, to perform his particular purpose, because he wants us to come into the knowledge of the truth. And Yarach Ma'al is responsible for visions of truth. Right? The leader of the seven princes of Mayaka'al. Sorry, and let me reread that. The leader of the seven princes is Mayaka'al, and the seven are the leaders over all the angels after them. The warring angels are all working together, are all working presently, and with Rawach HaQadash to do what he commands them to do. They fight to make sure that certain evil princes working in their evil realms are kept at bay from Alahayam's people. And this also includes the Gentiles that belong to him, okay? There are examples of the duties of these warrior angels in the Bible, notably Mayaka'al and Gabara Ya'al, where we can learn much about what they do based on certain scriptures. I'm sure there were much more written about the other angels, but we know that the evil powers that be, the earthly ones, they destroyed, they hid, and what they were told not to destroy, some of it they changed. All right. So let's go to Danayal chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Mayaka'al stand up, the great prince, which stands for the people, for the children of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Now let's go to Jude chapter 1, verse 9. Yet Mayaka'al the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Masha, that's Moses, dared not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, Yahweh rebuke you. So these are two examples of what Mayaka'al does. He is the great prince. He stands for Yashra'al, and he also fights against the Satans, namely Gadriel. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Mayaka'al and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought with and his angels. So we're going to come back to this particular scripture later on at the end of this study to read the full, the more verses connecting to this war in heaven. All right. Right now, we just want to see what his particular roles are in connection to what the scriptures say that they are. So we see the role of Mayaka'al as a high-ranking warrior angel who contended with Satan, namely Gadriel, the highest of all Satans. And by the way, yes, he contended past tense because this war in heaven has already taken place. Okay? We're going to talk more about that later on. Mayaka'al has his troops of soldiers who are also warrior angels, as in the other archangels and even the Gregory, who are also soldiers, warriors as well. We also see Mayaka'al as the prince for Yashra'al, who fights against the other evil princes on our behalf. We know that Alahayam said he has not given any angel or spirit authority over Yashra'al, as he alone is our ruler. And this is so with this chief archangel, this chief prince, and his duty for Yashra'al, who does not govern over us. Mayaka'al is responsible solely for our protection and our guardianship, watching over us as Alahayam's kingdom of people here on the earth. Whereas the evil princes, they govern, they rule over, and even control the nations they have taken over. Now, if Alahayam did not have Mayaka'al guarding us, we would have been wiped off the face of this earth, because the Satans, the fallen angels, the Nephilim spirits, they hate us. They hate us because they know we are the chosen people. And they want to destroy us, but they just can't, because Alahayam has his angels protecting us on every level in all the realms. So if you're battling something, it is because Alahayam has allowed that evil spirit in to point out something to you, to let you know something is up. You need to fix this, and you need to fix it fast. All right? But generally, they can't come and destroy us, even when we're sleeping at night. Do you know that he has a Gregory watching over each and every one of us that belongs to him? The evil spirits can't come near. Of course, we have Rawach HaQadash with us. He's always with us. But he has deployed these angels to guard us 24/7. Okay, let's move on. Mayakaal also help the other princes with their duties when they need him to. And we saw an example of this in Dana Yaal chapter 10, verse 12, when Gabawal Yaal wanted to bring understanding to Dana Yaal, but the prince of Persia withstood him 21 days. Let's go to Yawabal, which is the book of Jubilees, chapter 15, verse 31. He sanctified them, meaning Yashra'al, and gathered them from among all the children of men, for there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his. And over all nations he has placed spirits in authority to lead them astray from him, meaning he's not interested in them. But over Yashra'al he did not appoint any angel or spirit, for he alone is their ruler. He's our king. And he will preserve them and require them at the hand of his angels and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve them and bless them, that they may be his and he may be theirs from now on forever. So he has released powers, holy princes, the archangels, everyone, to guard us, to watch over us, to protect us, to fight on our behalf. You see, we're sitting here, or you're standing there, or you're going about your business. You don't even know the warfare that is going on in the spiritual realm where you're concerned, because the devil wants to bring that car to nail you, to run you over. And the devils are the devils are being fought against with these angels to prevent this from happening. Okay? How about you walking the street and somebody is looking at you sideways? You don't know what's going through that person's mind, because the evil spirit is speaking to them to cause them to come and interfere with you. But the holy angels now, they come and fight against that evil spirit to get them away from that person. And on top of that, to get that person away from you. So you're safe. I am speaking from personal experience about these things. I've gone places that I had no right to go because I was lost. But he preserved me. How many times I tried to cross the street and nearly got ran over? He preserved me. I remember one time I was standing in a corner ready to cross the street. This was there in Canada. And this car passed right in front of me. It was flying at high speed, and then the police car behind it. And I thought, wow, high chase, high speed chase. And so I thought, okay, it's safe for me to cross. And just before I was about to cross, I saw a car, the same car, gunning at me. And when I looked behind me, there was a wall. And all I heard, I honestly, this was the Father. Run. And I turned to go behind me, which was a wall. And the voice said to me, this was an audible voice, not there in front, go straight. And I ran straight. And just where I was standing, it was a stop sign. And the car came and crashed where I would have stood. But I fled. There was a lady that I was going to visit. She saw me because she witnessed everything. She saw me standing at the corner by the stop sign, but she didn't see me fleeing. And when she saw the car crashed into the stop sign, she thought I was gone. She ran home to her husband crying. But then when she saw me coming through the door, she's like, how'd you get, past that car? I saw it hit you. I said, no, it didn't. It didn't touch me. And then it didn't even stop there. The person that was in the car, because they were running from the police, came and ran behind me. Right? They ran after me. And right there, the police car came and knocked him over because he was about to grab me. He had a knife in his hand and all this. And I'm telling you, I've gone through some things. When I tell you that I've gone through things, I'm telling you, I've been through a lot of things in my life, right? But I made it was safe for me. I know in those days I was serving Jesus, right? Ignorantly. But he preserved me. I was able to escape not once, but twice. Why? Because Alahayam Yahweh, even though I was in pagan worship, but I belonged to him. And until the day of my awakening, which came many years later, right? Until that time, he was preserving me. The devil wanted to take me out. Not once, but twice. All right? But they couldn't touch me. When that man came at me, I saw him. I had the key in my hand, about to put it in the door, and the car came out of nowhere. The police car came out of nowhere and knocked him over. And I was able to slip into the place and close the door. Unbelievable, right? But this is true. This is true. It's happened to me. And sometimes I look back at my life and I marvel and I can see the hand of the Most High where He has released His angels to protect me. I mean, His power can protect as well, but that's what He has the angels there for. Because they come and they war against the spirits that want to take us out. And He will release His Holy Spirits to take them out. Well, they can't be killed until the day they're cast into the lake of fire, but to take them out of our way. All right? These things are real. That's all I can say. They're real. And this is why we need to belong to Him. Because only He can protect us. Only He can preserve us. People go and take out life insurance, health insurance, medical insurance, all kind of insurance. But they don't have the blessed assurance. They don't have His protection. What good is a life insurance policy when your house is on fire and you can't get out? The only people that will benefit from that life insurance policy are the people that are your beneficiaries. All right? But you don't benefit from it. All right, let's move on. Let's see where we left off. We have looked at Gabriel earlier in this study. That's Gabriel. But there's more about him, which we will discover in a number of scriptures which have mentioned him by name in the Bible. We will learn more about his roles, which will be more than what we have seen in the Book of Chanawak. Gabriel's duty is that of a warrior, and he is a messenger sent with revelation of prophecies, the understanding of dreams and visions, and personal messages from Alahayam to his servants concerning pivotal events in our forefathers' history. Life-changing events for us even today, okay? Daniel chapter 8, verse 16. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 16. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabara Yaal, meaning Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So Alahayam was instructing Gabara Yaal to tell Dana Yaal the meaning of the vision he had. Okay, so let's go on to Dana Yaal chapter 9, verse 21. Yea, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabara Yaal, who's Gabriel, whom I have seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Dana Yaal, I am now come forth to give you skill and insight and understanding. At the beginning of your supplications, the commandment came forth, and I am come to show you, for you are greatly beloved. You're greatly beloved. Therefore, understand the matter and consider the vision. Now, I want to say something concerning receiving understanding. This is in Danayaal's time, all right, because the angel Gabriel brought the understanding to Danayaal. Now, notice that he prayed for understanding. This is Gabriel chapter 10. We're going to look at that just again. And it took 21 days for him to get the understanding. 3 weeks. Can you imagine? But in this case here now, Danayaal was praying once again for understanding. And before the time of the evening oblation, he received understanding. The same thing happens to us when we are praying for Rawach HaQadash to release understanding, to reveal understanding of his word, of the vision that we had or dream that we've had. Sometimes it comes instantly, sometimes it takes a while. It depends on the purpose of that dream or vision or the word that he wants us to understand. The timing is within his grasp, not ours. And just because we did not receive understanding immediately does not mean that we stop praying for understanding. That's the point I'm trying to make. We don't stop praying for understanding. There are times, though, where, especially with dreams and visions, he's given it to you, or to us rather, and we don't receive the understanding right away. You can pray and ask him for understanding, but then you leave it in his hands, because then he, in his timing, will bring understanding. He will remind you of the dream and he will give you the understanding at that same time. There are times when I've had my dreams or I've had visions and I may even have forgotten, right? And he would remind me, did you remember that vision that I sent you? Here's the revelation. And he would give me the revelation. And then there are times when I clearly remember the dream or the vision, and I say to him, Abba, help me to understand. And he will give me understanding right there. And then there are times when he does not give me understanding, but he'll tell me about something else completely different. And I thought, okay. And that's what I would think. It's okay. I will go with his flow. And then later on, at some point of time later on, he would give me the revelation. He would give me the understanding too. Okay? So the timing is within his grasp, not ours. And we have to wait on him. But we don't give up hope and think that it was not worthwhile. The enemy will want you to just dismiss your visions and your dreams. But the Most High said, no, don't do that. You just hold it and hold it in your heart and guard it too. All right, let's move on. Daniel chapter 10, verse 12, we looked at this earlier. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, For from the first day that you did set your heart to understand and to chasten yourself before Alahayam, your words were heard, and I am come for your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 1 and 21 days. That's 3 weeks. But lo, Mayakaal, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. So the kings of Persia will be the Medes and Persians, okay? Verse 20. Then said he, Know you wherefore I come unto you? I know I am returned to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. So this is the reason why Gabara had to go back now after he has done the duty of Alahayam Yahweh to bring the word, the understanding to Dana Yaal. Now he has to go and overthrow the prince of Persia, the evil prince of Persia. Okay? Because it was the time for the Medes and Persians to be overthrown on the earth. That kingdom had to be overthrown. And who stepped in? Who stepped in? Because it's happened already. The prince of Persia, the evil prince of Persia stepped in to set up his principality so that the earthly realm now, the earthly kingdom can be set up, which would be the Greek Empire. And we know that Alexander was the emperor in those days. Okay? Verse 21. But I will show you that which is noted in the scripture of truth, and there is none that holds with me in these things but Mayakaal your prince, because he is so powerful. He can fight against these things, and he will have victory. Gabara Yaal too, but he already had a purpose that he couldn't put his purpose aside, which is to bring understanding to Dana Yaal to fight against this prince. This is what this evil prince wanted. But Dana Yaal said, no, I have to hold dear and protect the word that was going to be given to Dana Yaal. And once he has done his duty, now he can go and fight against this evil prince of Persia. Gabara Yaal was used to announce two very important pregnancies, resulting in two very important male children being born 6 months apart. One was the forerunner, which is Yehochanan, the baptizer, and the other was Hamashiach, our Savior. Hallelujah. Let's go to Luke chapter 1, verse 18. And Zacharias said unto the angel, Whereby shall I know this? For I am stricken in years, because the angel Gabara Yaal just told him he's going to be a father. He's like, I'm an old man. How is this possible? Verse 19, and the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabara Yaal, that stand in the presence of Alahayam, and I am sent to speak unto you and to show you these glad tidings. Let's drop down to verse 26. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabara Yaal was sent from Alahayam unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Yahusap, that's Joseph, of the house of Dawad. And the virgin's name was Mariam. So he appeared to Mariam to tell her she is going to be with child from the Most High. Each prince has their role to perform for Alahayam Yahweh. We know of two of these princes' roles as according to the Bible, and there are Mayakaal and Gabara Yaal. We also know of another prince's role, but according to 2nd Baruch, and that is Yaracha Ma'al, that's Ramiel. We know that by now Mayakaal and his angels have already fought with the dragon Gadriel and his fallen angels, and they have been overthrown. They have been thrown out of the heavens down to the earth presently, and banned from ever going before Alahayam. So they're not allowed in the heavens anymore. Let's go to the book of Ayawab, the book of Job, chapter 1, verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of Alahayam came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also among them. So Gadriel come, and also the other evil fallen angels would come before Alahayam because they have to present themselves before him. They have to tell them what they're planning to do. And he has to give them permission or he will restrict them. Okay? Let's go to Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Mayakaal and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. Now, this is not the time when Gadriel caused the 1/3 of the angels to fall. No, this was after this incident. And we know this why? Let's read on. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So that's how we know, because he was already deceiving the whole world. There wasn't a world when he was first cast out. There wasn't a world. Adam and Hawa were not created yet when he was cast out. Okay? So let's read on. Verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of Alahayam, our Alahayam, and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before Alahayam day and night. Here's another proof or piece of evidence to prove to us that this happened after he fell, after he and the 1/3 of the angels fell. All right, because they became the accuser or the accusers of our brethren. Who are our brethren? The 12 tribes of Yashraal. Verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. So now, another piece of the puzzle, it would have happened after some time, much time after the death of Hamashiach. Because we know that his blood purges us of our sins and redeems us to Ha'abba. And not only that, but now we have a testimony to speak of. Verse 12. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you that dwell in them. Why? Because the heavens now, all of the heavens, because these devils, these fallen angels, they were cast down to second heaven. And and Alahayam, of course, he had his angels keeping guard over second heaven to prevent them from going any further, because on third heaven is the Garden of Odan. All right, that's why they persuaded after the flood, they persuaded the people to build a tower, right? The Tower of Babel, because they wanted to storm the heavens, because they wanted to enter into the sanctuary, which is the third heaven, where the tree of life is. They wanted to storm up there. In fact, they wanted to go as high as they can to try to overthrow Alahayam. But they wanted to storm the heavens. And these earthlings, these itty bitty, pitiful earthlings thought that they can do this thing. But they were provoked by the evil spirits to do this thing. All right? And of course, Alahayam struck them with 70 languages, took away the one language and gave them 70. So they couldn't understand each other. All right. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time. And this is how we know that this war in heaven has happened recently. Right? Because once he was cast out of the heavens and prohibited from entering any of the levels of the heavens above the dome, I mean, they still exist in their own little spiritual realms where they, they create their own little strongholds. They have that here on the earth, but they're not prohibited above the dome. And that's why you have all these different scientific things going on, because they're trying to pierce the dome. They've been shut out. They're trying to open up portals, all kinds of things. So he's here. And another evidence of the fact that he is here is the escalation of evil, the escalation of wickedness and chaos and turmoil and terror and fear. These are all strongholds that are strengthening. Why? Because people are giving ear to the lies and the deception, which is empowering them and empowering their strongholds, their principalities on the earth, their spiritual realms. Everything is increasing. But Alahayam is allowing this because their timing is short. And this Alahayam is using to sift every single person on the earth. Yeah, the southern kingdom, the northern kingdom, and even the Gentiles that will come in with us. This is the reason why he's allowing this. Okay, let's read on. At one time, Satan and his fallen angels dwelled in second heaven. They still had to present themselves before Alahayam to receive instructions from him. But a time came when they were cast out of second heaven forever, and that time was before the worldwide hoax in 2019. This is before it began to be rolled out. Okay. We know that Yochanan, John the apostle, was not speaking of the time of the fallen angels being cast out of heaven when they first fell, because Hamashiach had not yet come to the earth as a man to die for our sins. And it was said in the scriptures above that only by the blood of the Lamb that we will be able to overcome Satan and his angels. And that's especially now. He is here on the earth amongst us, him and his fallen angels and the demons and the devils. I mean, people are seeing strange things in the sky, especially at night. Those are the fallen angels because they present themselves to look like stars. And they're patrolling the skies. Why? Because they know that something is about to happen. A portal is about to open up. And Hamashiach is going to enter into our dimension with his chariots to take his people away. And they want to try to prevent that. They want to anticipate when this is going to actually happen, as if they can do anything about it. But that's deception. They're so deceived in themselves that they can't see sense. All right? So all these things that you are seeing happening here on the earth and in the skies and above you, beneath the dome, is a result of these fallen angels. Let's read on. And especially the last sentence, which also allows us to know that he has a short time left to do his worst. Speaking of Gadriel the Satan, before he is cast into the lake of fire. Satan and his angels are here on the earth, hence the great increase of deception like we've never seen or heard of before. It is for this reason the angel proclaimed woe to the inhabitants of the earth and sea. For this is a time like none ever, and it will progressively become worse and worse. Thankfully, we have armies of warrior angels, and not to mention the power of the blood of Hamashiach, which we claim by faith. And so we will for sure overcome these devils. We have a way out, and it's Hamashiach. The ones that claim that he is a Roman plant and all that nonsense, they have no way out. They're doomed. They're doomed for destruction because there's nothing or no one protecting them. And this is the reason why their deception even runs deeper and deeper until they're so overwhelmed with great deception that there's no way out for them. There's no repentance. And it starts by believing in Hamashiach. You believe in him and what he did on the stake for us, for yourself. Now you have something to work with. Now he has something to work with as well. Now he can release his Rawach to you and guide you in this world of darkness. This world has become so dark. Don't matter if the sun is shining. We're talking about spiritual darkness. We're talking about ignorance. Ignorance. Okay? We're talking about ignorance. People have become very, very ignorant of the truth. People are still persuaded that there are galaxies out there, that there's space out there, and there's satellites in orbit around the earth and all kind of stuff. I mean, the level, the depth of deception is so great that it makes no sense to you trying to speak sense to these people. The only thing that we can do is to make sure that we don't fall prey to the great deception. All right? So with that, we will end with the blessing for Yashwa'al taken from Balmadabar chapter 6, verses 24 to 26. That's Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 to 26. Yabarakak Yahweh wa Yashamarak. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. Ya'ar Yahweh panayo alayak wa yachanak. May Yahweh cause his face to shine upon you and have favor upon you. Ya'ar Yahweh panayo alayak wa yashamlak Shalawam. May Yahweh lift up his face upon you and give you peace. And now we're going to recite the command we were instructed to recite when we lie down, when we get up, when we go out, and when we come in, taken from the Barayam chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. That's Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. Shama'o Yashwa'al Yahweh Alahayana Yahweh Ahad wa Ahabath Ath Yahweh Alahayak Bakal Babak wa Bakal Napashat wa Bakal Ma'adak. Hear, O Yashwa'al, Yahweh our Alahayam is one Yahweh, and you shall love Yahweh your Alahayam with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And with that I will say, Shalawam, Shalawam, all praises to the Most High, Abba Yah.